Don't you think you ought to start calling me Mr. Winslow?
Yeah, that's what my parents Herb and Diane tell me.
You can always tell when a sitcom's in trouble. First, they start recycling plots. Then they add a dream sequence. And when all else fails, they bring in a new character, usually a long-lost cousin, surprise roommate, or child no one remembers giving birth to. Suddenly, your favorite show isn't about the original gang. It's about Zippy, the precocious neighbor with a pet lizard and a catchphrase. You don't know how it happened. You just blinked, and boom, show ruined. Cue the laugh track, and the slow decline into syndication hell. Today, we're counting down the top 12 characters who barged into beloved sitcoms and left chaos in their wake. You know the ones. Nobody asked for them. The vibe shifted instantly, and suddenly, it wasn't your show anymore. Some were network Hail Marys, others were writer's room fever dreams. But all of them? Prime examples of what happens when sitcom logic goes rogue. We dug through TV history, fan forums, and a few fevered Reddit threads to bring you the worst of the worst. Sitcoms thrive on routine. Same setting, same crew, same recycled jokes about lasagna or dating disasters. So when a show suddenly drops in a new character mid-run, it's like hearing a record scratch during the theme song. 9 times out of 10, it's not because the writers had a bold new vision. It's because someone in a suit panicked over ratings and screamed, "Get me a kid, or an alien, or both." Enter Cousin Oliver Syndrome. It's not just a trope, it's a cry for help, wrapped in a catchphrase and bad bangs. Let's start the countdown. 12. Emily Waltham from Friends. Ah yes, the British invasion nobody wanted. Emily Waltham swooped into Friends in season 4, got engaged to Ross in record time, and basically existed to drive a wedge between him and Rachel. She wasn't quirky, she wasn't fun, and she definitely wasn't built for Central Perk. Her character arc peaked with Ross saying the wrong name at the altar, iconic for the drama, but not for longevity. Fans never warmed to her, and the writers knew it. By season 5, Emily was gone faster than you can say pivot. She didn't ruin Friends, but she definitely stalled it. Onward to number 11. Number 11, Snarf from Thundercats. Snarf was supposed to be comic relief. Instead, he became a Saturday morning cautionary tale. Introduced as Lion-O's nursemaid, mascot is confused uncle. In Thundercats, Snarf was whiny, nervous, and constantly yelling his own name like a Pokemon with anxiety. Kids wanted action and laser swords, not a jittery cat creature nagging the heroes mid-battle. His presence felt like the network trying to kid-proof a show that already starred talking cats in spandex. Snarf didn't tank the Thundercats, but he definitely made reruns harder to sit through. You didn't quote Snarf, you muted him. Let's keep the cringe train going. 10. Nate Shelley from Ted Lasso. Nate started as the lovable kit man with self-esteem issues, and then transformed into a gray-haired villain with daddy issues and a vendetta. Ted Lasso gave us a slow-burn betrayal arc, but somewhere between spitting in mirrors and eyeliner-level brooding, Nate stopped making emotional sense. His heel turn felt less like character development and more like plot whiplash. Fans were torn. Was this a bold move or a botched redemption setup? By season 3, Nate was doing apology tours, but the damage was done. He didn't just break hearts, he broke the show's wholesome vibe. Here comes another blast from the sitcom Blunder Vault. Number 9. Che Diaz from And Just Like That. Che Diaz entered the Sex and the City universe like a woke wrecking ball, complete with stand-up routines that weren't funny and vibes that screamed focus group chaos. Introduced in the reboot And Just Like That, Che was meant to be a bold, modern addition. Instead, they became the poster child for try-hard writing. They weren't the first non-binary character on TV, but they might have been the most awkwardly written. Somehow, every scene with Che managed to feel like a TED Talk and a breakup at the same time. Progressive intent? Sure. Execution? Total network panic mode. Let's go on with number 8. Number 8, Scrappy-Doo from Scooby-Doo. If Cousin Oliver walked so others could ruin sitcoms, Scrappy-Doo sprinted into Saturday mornings like a caffeinated menace. Meant to inject energy into a stale franchise, Scrappy was loud, obnoxious, and constantly picking fights with monsters twice his size. He didn't solve mysteries, he just annoyed everyone until the ghost gave up. Even Fred and Daphne looked like they wanted to unadopt him. Fans revolted, memes were born, and decades later, Scrappy was still so reviled he was literally the villain in the live-action movie. That's legacy, folks, just not the good kind. Here comes number 7. 7. Ted Mosby from How I Met Your Mother. At first, Ted Mosby seemed like the nice guy in a bro-comedy sea of chaos. But the longer How I Met Your Mother ran, the clearer it got. Ted was the problem. Pretentious, selfish, and prone to romanticizing every bad decision, he narrated his life like a rom-com nobody asked to hear. And the mother? After 9 seasons of build-up, she got fridged so Ted could date Robin again. The twist wasn't romantic. It was rage-inducing. He wasn't a character who ruined the show. He was the show. And that's exactly why people started hating it. Let's kick off the top 6. 6. Zach Morris from Saved by the Bell. Zach Morris was the cool guy. If your definition of cool is manipulative sociopath with great hair. As the lead of Saved by the Bell, Zach was charming on the surface, but dig one layer deeper and he's scamming his friends, gaslighting teachers, and pulling borderline criminal pranks for fun. His ability to break the fourth wall didn't make him clever. It made him self-aware and still awful. Over time, he stopped being the fun bad boy and morphed into the reason every plot turned toxic. The rest of the cast grew. Zach stayed a walking red flag with a cell phone the size of a toaster. He didn't ruin Saved by the Bell, but he made growing up with it kind of awkward. Here we go, on to the next disaster. 5. The Great Gazoo from the Flintstones. When your prehistoric cartoon suddenly gets a floating green alien in a helmet, something has gone very wrong. The Great Gazoo showed up in the final season of the Flintstones like a glitch in the Stone Age Matrix. He called Fred and Barney dum-dums, zapped things with magic, and generally acted like the show had quietly become the Jetsons. Kids were confused, parents were annoyed. Even the writers seemed unsure why he existed. This was textbook network panic mode, a desperate injection of science fiction into a show that was never broken to begin with. He didn't just jump the shark, he jetpacked over it while calling everyone stupid. Alright, into the top 4 we go. 4. Ross Geller from Friends. Ross started as the sensitive nerd with a dinosaur fetish, but by season 5 he was less relatable and more walking red flag. He dated students, flipped out over sandwiches, and yelled, "We were on a break," like it was a legal defense. Sure, he was part of the core 6, but his transformation from awkward divorcee to unhinged man-child made Friends harder to rewatch with each passing year. While everyone else grew up, Ross just spiraled. He wasn't a Cousin Oliver insert. He was a slow-burn sabotage. Somehow, he was both main character and sitcom hazard. You didn't root for Ross. You tolerated him, until you couldn't anymore. Let's get into the real sitcom sabotage now. 3. Steve Urkel from Family Matters. Steve Urkel didn't just crash Family Matters, he hijacked it, strapped on rocket skates, and never looked back. Originally a one-episode side character, his nasal voice and suspenders became a ratings goldmine. But soon, the Winslows were background noise in what was now the Steve Urkel Show. He cloned himself. He turned into a suave alter ego. He built a time machine. Remember when this was a family sitcom about real-life struggles? Yeah, neither does anyone. Urkel wasn't a jump-the-shark moment. He was the whole arc. Sure, he made the show iconic, but he also buried its original heart under layers of sci-fi chaos and, did I do that? Merch. We're almost at the top. Here's number 2. 2. Sam and Diane from Cheers. Individually, Sam and Diane were compelling. Together, they became the romantic sinkhole that swallowed Cheers. What started as a witty, will-they-won't-they dynamic turned into a never-ending soap opera with barstools. Their constant bickering, dramatic breakups, and tension fatigue sucked the fun out of the show's original premise, lovable misfits drinking through life's chaos. Instead, we got relationship whiplash and the slow erosion of ensemble charm. When Diane left, the show actually got better. a rare sitcom evolution. That's right, subtraction by subtraction. Sam and Diane didn't ruin Cheers completely, but their romance nearly drove it off the rails, one passive-aggressive flirt at a time. Here we go, the final boss of sitcom sabotage. 1. Cousin Oliver from the Brady Bunch. The name that launched 1,000 groans. Cousin Oliver. The Brady household was already bursting with kids, perms, and plotlines. But in Season 5, producers decided what the show really needed was more child. Enter Oliver, the wide-eyed, bowl-cut nephew who arrived out of nowhere and instantly clashed with the show's rhythm. He was meant to be fresh energy. Instead, he felt like a walking cancellation notice. The existing kids were aging out of cute. So the solution? Clone Bobby Brady, make him blonder, and hope no one notices. Audiences noticed. Ratings dipped. The show ended, and a legend was born. Cousin Oliver syndrome is now the official term for any desperate mid-season kid injection that reeks of doom. He wasn't just a character, he was a sitcom symptom, and the cure was not more Oliver. All right, we've officially hit the point of no return. Which of these characters made you rage quit your favorite sitcom? Drop it in the comments, and if you're still watching, you might as well hit like and subscribe. Classic sitcom logic, right? If there's one thing TV has taught us, it's that no sitcom is safe from the desperate lure of new character, new life. But as we've seen, sometimes that new addition is less a savior and more of a sitcom saboteur. Whether they were shoehorned in, overused, or just plain annoying, these characters prove that bad writing decisions can become legendary. Got more cursed character memories? Throw them in the comments. Until next time, cue the theme song, fade to black, and pray they don't add a dog.